All right, today's date is January the 7th, 2009. The time is approximately 1900 hours. The following will be a taped interview regarding case number 08-74777. This is Sergeant John Allen of the Orange County Sheriff's Office. I'm at 390 North Orange Avenue, Suite 1630. The law office of Brad Conway. Also present in the office is Attorney Brad Conway, Special Agent Nick Savage of the FBI, and Dominic Casey. All right, Dominic, can you raise your right hand for me? You swear to affirm the statement you're going to make to be true and correct?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. All right, Mr. Casey, you agreed to meet with us here at Mr. Conway's office to talk to us about our investigation into the death of Kaylee Anthony. Is that correct?
That is correct.
You understand it being tape recorded?
Yes, I do.
You have no issue with that, right?
No, sir, I do not.
Okay, Mr. Conway, you understand that the interview is being taped?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, Dominic, could you just kind of start from the beginning? We talked a little bit about this tip that you got out on Suburban Drive. Can you kind of start from the beginning and just explain to us, and tell us how you came to be out there searching?
I was not out there. The beginning is this. There was a meet and greet on the Saturday morning at the command center.
Saturday, do you recall the date?
November the 15th.
November the 15th.
November
Okay.
the 15th.
Okay.
At the meet and greet. I was headed out to the meet and greet. In Keogh Marie Cruz's statement, she stated that that was a hangout where they hung out. That was one thing in Keogh Marie's statement that I had not seen or verified, so I thought on Saturday when I go to the meet and greet, then I will go ahead and run by there and just take a look at it and see if it's a hangout.
Okay, this was Saturday morning that you were going to go by the meet and greet?
The meet and greet began on Saturday at 10 a.m.
Okay, that would have been November the
15th.
15th. Okay.
Correct.
All right, so you on the way to the meet and greet, you decided to stop by Suburban Drive.
I received a telephone call. What I'd done, I had called James Hoover a couple of days before and invited him, at the request of the family, to be at the meet and greet.
Okay.
So the arrangement was I would meet him at my office so that he could follow me down or whatever. When I got over to the office, he was there sitting in the parking lot, and he said, "Why don't we go in my car there instead of taking both?" So I said,
okay.
"Sure, that's fine." On the way over, I'd received a call from Jeanette Lucas.
Okay. About what time did you receive the call from Jeanette Lucas?
I'm going to say it's got to be between 7 and 8.
Okay. What time did you meet James Hoover?
It wasn't much longer after that.
Okay. So you got the phone call from Jeanette before you met Hoover?
That is correct.
Okay. So you get this phone call from Jeanette. I think you indicated earlier she's a psychic.
That's what she's indicated to me.
Okay. She told you she was a psychic.
No, she didn't tell me she was a psychic. She told me she was some other name. I don't know what it was that she used. And she had this image, this whatever. So I'm freaking out like.
An image like a. Did she describe? How are these images coming to her?
She described that she had seen Kaylee Marie.
Not physically seen her like in a clairvoyant.
Seen her in a presence of whatever that may be. I don't know what.
I'm confused about it. You said, who was using a different name?
Excuse me?
Who was using a different name?
Who was using? I'm not sure what you're talking about.
I believe you said...
Jeanette Lucas.
Yes. And...
What's the name? What's the other
And she contacted you as Jeanette Lucas.
Jenny.
That's right.
Okay.
Jenny. Jenny is what she goes by, Jenny.
Okay.
Her full name is Jeanette Lucas.
Okay, so but what I want to be clear about what you're saying. Jenny called you Saturday morning and told you that she had a vision of some sort.
She had a vision.
Okay.
And she had a vision of seeing Kaylee Marie Anthony.
Okay.
And she described where it was.
Okay.
So
And how did she describe it? How did she tell you that she was on Suburban Drive?
she didn't say Suburban Drive.
Okay.
She said it's an area, she said, at the end of Hope Spring Drive. She said, I don't know what it is, but there's a school nearby, there's some woods nearby, there's a house on the corner. If you look at the house on the corner and you follow the fence line down, it opens to woods, and there's woods in there, and if you go down, and she said something like how many yards, whatever it may be,
Okay.
I'd walk in. She said, I believe that's where you'll see 3 concrete blocks,
Okay.
is what she described them as concrete blocks. So I said, okay. And when we first pulled up at Suburban, she called me again and said, Are you there? Have you seen? I said, yeah. And I walked away from James Hoover, and I walked away from the truck, and I'm talking to her. So I said, okay, I'm here. She said, okay, tell me what you're seeing. So I was telling her, well, I see woods at the end of the house. She said, how far down? I said, I don't know, maybe 30, 50 feet, whatever it is. She said, then walk in, and she said, and you'll see some concrete blocks. So I go walking in, and I'd say that was about 25, 30 feet maximum. And all you could see trash, you could see garbage, beer bottles or beer cans, and then some water, and I remember seeing a toilet sitting there.
Okay.
And then I looked across, as I come turning around, I looked across, I could see these pavers. I was not on the phone then, I saw these pavers, and then I'm totally freaking out.
Okay. And you're freaking out because she's telling me what I'm supposed to find, what she's seen. Okay.
When you were driving there, what did you tell James Hoover that you were doing?
I told James Hoover, I said we're going to the meet and greet. I said, first of all, we're going to have breakfast with Michelle.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have breakfast with her at the hotel. But I said, first of all, before we go there, I said, I'm going to stop down on Suburban Drive. I said, and go take a look in these woods. I said, I just got a call, a tip. I told him it was a tip.
Okay.
I did not tell him it was anything other than. So I'm thinking, like, how am I going to tell anybody this is a psychic? Why am I following some psychic, whatever? I wasn't even going there for that anyway. Anyway, to begin with, here I am just going there just to rule something out.
Okay.
And I'm getting this call from this person.
And again, just so I'm clear, what were you trying to rule out?
Rule out that it was a child hangout of Keogh Marie Cruz. Keogh Marie Cruz had said in a statement that they all used to hang out there, do whatever they did, party, whatever.
That's what I wanted to clarify, Dominic. Were you already on your way because that's what you were going to do?
Correct.
And then you got the call?
That's correct.
So you were driving down there to rule out whether or not this wooded area was how are you going to rule out that it was a childhood hangout? I'm not sure. What would you see that would tell you this is a childhood hangout, this is not? What was going to be the decider for you?
The decider for me was, like, if you'd see, like, somewhere where people have been sitting around, like makeshift whatever, beer cans, the usual stuff you see with teenagers or whatever.
Okay, I think you lost me. Casey's 22 now.
That's correct.
How are you going to determine whether this is a place she hung out when she was a child?
To my understanding, this was a place that teenagers hung out. That's the impression that I had.
Okay, well,
teenagers.
Even still, I mean, she hadn't been a teenager in 3 years. When you got in your mind, you were going to go there and you walk into the woods, you would see what that would make you think this is somewhere Casey hung out versus somewhere Casey didn't hang out. How are you going to determine that?